We have a thing called the blockade headed up by the U.S. Navy, and we control it. And now we control it, but they can always shoot something. They always have something or drop a mine. And if you have one mine sitting out there, you sort of mess things up because people don't want to take their billion-dollar boats and accidentally get hit by a mine. But I think we're doing very well. I'm involved in the negotiation. I think we're doing fine.
Just as Washington claims progress in talks over the Strait of Hormuz, Tehran is firing back with a sharp political attack. Iran's parliament speaker and chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, has accused the United States of engaging in what he called theater diplomacy, dismissing President Donald Trump's latest claims of successful negotiations. The remarks underscore the widening gap between the two sides over whether meaningful diplomacy is actually taking place. In a post on X, Ghalibaf mocked what he described as America's negotiating strategy. Massive attack coming. Wait, never mind. They want to negotiate. That's theater diplomacy on loop, he wrote. Accusing Washington of relying on bullying, broken promises, and fake news, Ghalibaf said the United States should fulfill its commitments instead of using pressure tactics, adding, "We don't need more theater." Iran's acting defense minister, Brigadier General Majid Ebenireza, echoed the tough rhetoric, insisting the country's armed forces remain fully prepared to confront any external threat. According to Iran's state news agency IRNA, he said Iran's military strength is built on its domestic defense industry rather than imported weapons, claiming the country's indigenous capabilities now surpass those of several regional rivals. The comments came after President Donald Trump warned that Iran would be hit very hard if the Strait of Hormuz was not reopened soon. At the same time, Trump insisted Washington was holding very good discussions with Iranian officials and suggested Tehran had reached out to negotiate. The strait remains one of the world's most strategically important shipping lanes, carrying nearly a fifth of global oil and LNG exports.
Well, I don't want to say it has been. It's sort of open right now. We have a thing called the blockade headed up by the U.S. Navy, and we control it. And now we control it, but they can always shoot something. They always have something or drop a mine. And if you have one mine sitting out there, you sort of mess things up because people don't want to take their billion-dollar boats and accidentally get hit by a mine. But I think we're doing very well. I'm involved in the negotiation. I think we're doing fine.
Iran has firmly rejected Trump's version of events. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Bakai said there are currently no negotiations taking place with the United States. He added that Iran's diplomatic team remains in Tehran, while Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is on a pilgrimage to Iraq, contradicting suggestions that fresh talks are underway. Even within Washington, expectations appear cautious. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance acknowledged that any future negotiations with Iran would likely be messy and take time. In an interview with Fox News, Vance described Iran's leadership as divided, saying the United States would continue using military, economic, and diplomatic pressure while maintaining that Tehran would never be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon.
It seems like we're making progress, and then it seems like we're not. Well, the reality, Laura, is that number one, the Iranians are extraordinarily difficult people. Number two, they have a fractured system. So there are people within their system who want the war to be over. There are also people within their system who are crazy radicals who want the war to continue. Our job is to navigate through that and get the best outcome for the American people, but for the President of the United States as well. And I do think that where we will ultimately land, it's going to be messy and it's going to take some time to get there. Where we will ultimately land, as you see, oil, I think, was at $79 today. Those oil prices are going to come down and stay down. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and the United States will be in a stronger position. But we're kind of in the middle of the game, and I think people are trying to prejudge exactly how this is going to go. I can tell you with confidence it's going to go in a place that is good for the United States of America, but we're going to use all the tools that we have, military, economic, diplomatic, to make sure we bring this thing to the right resolution.
The exchange highlights the deep mistrust still defining US-Iran relations. While Washington says diplomacy is making progress, Tehran insists no talks are taking place, with military threats, public denials, and competing narratives dominating both sides. The future of the Strait of Hormuz and the stability of global energy markets continues to hinge on whether words eventually give way to meaningful negotiations.
Republicans are arguing a lot right now about affordability. What is your message on affordability going into the midterms?
Well, that's a good question, but it's sort of simple to answer. I inherited the highest prices ever. I inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. And we have done an amazing job. And oil prices now are coming down very rapidly. If you look at what's going on, it's down to 75. When I started the very important excursion into the Islamic Republic of Iran, it was a very important excursion because they can't have a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, the whole world would get blown up. We're not going to let that happen. Not only us, not only the Middle East, the whole world would have been catastrophic. We had no choice. We had oil down to less than two, in many places like Iowa. Oil was down to, gasoline was down at numbers that people hadn't seen in years. $1.85, $1.95. So it passed Tuesday. I was in Iowa at a stop, and we had $1.95, another one, $1.85 a gallon. And we'll see those days pretty soon again, based on everything I see, as soon as the war ends. And I think it's going to end pretty soon. I don't think they can go much longer. Yeah, please.
Has a deal been reached to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I don't want to say it has been. It's sort of open right now. You know, we have a thing called the blockade headed up by the U.S. Navy, and we control it. And now we control it, but they can always shoot something. They always have something or drop a mine. And if you have one mine sitting out there, you sort of mess things up because people don't want to take their billion-dollar boats and accidentally get hit by a mine. But I think we're doing very well. I just, I'm involved in the negotiation. I think we're doing fine. Well, I'm not going to get involved in that. It's a very sad situation. And I know Max very well. But it's very, very sad that a situation like that takes place.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.